Twitch. Are we live, Jill?
We should be. There we go.
All right. Just sending out the tweet. Good morning, everyone. This is episode 324 of the OotiniCast. Post-Christmas show, pre-New Year's. It's the last show of 2017. What a year it's been. We'll go through it in a little bit of detail, because that's what you do at the end of the year. It's all right, we won't belabor it. Because we have our special guest today, Dr. Swotor, who has an extremely interesting topic to talk about, which we will get to.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks for the endorsement.
It will be a fun and interesting and educational and actually quite scary conversation as he reveals some of the psychology behind loot boxes and all that kind of stuff. We are just being, the sheer degree with which we are being manipulated by these companies is staggering. And it's almost all in a very innocent cause, just making profit, and yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into all of it right just yet, but there's a lot of really dependable and purposeful decision making that goes into what goes on the cartel market, I believe. SWTOR is actually very nice in this area because at least everything is cosmetic.
Yes, point.
The thing that actually prompted me to become more interested in this personally and professionally is actually how Battlefront 2 almost became one thing, and then just because Star Wars IP is attached to it, it sort of got halted from becoming what it was naturally going to be. And that opens a lot of interesting conversational points about loot boxes in gaming, especially when you're paying for them.
All right, let's keep that going once we actually talk about it properly.
Yeah.
Because yes. All right, now the nice people are saying your volume is a little low, Dr. Swotor.
Okay. A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe crank it up a little on your end and see what happens. Yeah, mine's dropped a bit too. You are definitely in studio mode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good. All right. Volume up.
Talk some more.
Yeah.
Doc.
Yeah.
He's finding his volume setting.
Okay.
Is it any different?
Not much.
He sounds the same to us. Does he sound a bit low to you, Jill?
A little low. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I'm talking now, is it working?
Certainly hear you, but again, the volume's about the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Try backing up away physically from your computer just to make sure that you're actually getting your headset mic and not some built-in mic.
Right. So I'm talking now as a test.
Yep. Exactly the same. So
okay.
Yep.
So it is the headphone. Yeah. So it is the headset mic. So that's good. One other thing you might try is just you should be able to adjust it to bring it closer to your mouth a little bit.
Okay.
That's it.
You don't want to be breathing into it so that you pop all your peas, but if it's closer, it definitely helps.
Yep. Oh,
try it again.
Peas and peas.
So is this making any significant difference?
Not to me, but
Not to me.
The Hangout will also auto balance, so there's only so much you can do.
Okay.
Just project your voice like you're giving a lecture.
Sure, I'll do that. Actually, Discord and other things like that have become really confusing to me ever since I had to change my PC. When I was moving out here, my gaming PC got crushed.
Oh no.
Crushed.
Yes.
Crushed?
I have the pieces of it in my closet.
Oh.
So I have a new PC. It works fine, and I can hear things normally well. But as far as my sound, it's been very confusing to me.
Okay.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah, speaking your daddy voice. Actually.
Sure. Yeah, I'll just pretend that all of you are in trouble, and we'll do that. We need to edit this out of the actual podcast.
It's all right. This part is not part of the recording because we haven't started yet. So
okay.
It's just banter.
Oh, okay.
Admittedly, it will
So
say
I need to remember all the good things that I said earlier so I
yes,
can
yes, you do.
replicate it. That's fine.
I'm sure you've got notes. Haven't lecturers got amazing memories? No. All right. Chill. Let's get the show on the road because time. My holiday is draining away as we speak.
All right. Let me have a little water and we'll go in 5.
And you are obviously recording as well.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Roger.
Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that has a very particular set of skills. If you subscribe to us now, that'll be the end of it. We will not look for you. We will not pursue you. But if you don't, we will look for you. We will find you. And we will make you one with the Force. This is episode 324, being recorded on Thursday, December 28th, 2017. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey guys, and I have no idea where that quote was from.
It's a Liam Neeson quote from Taken, but I decided to
Oh.
Qui-Gon gin it up a little bit
Right. Very
to
nice.
make a double pun there. And our guest today is Dr. Swotor. And welcome back, Dr. Swotor. It's been a little while, and we obviously had a lot of fun doing the personality test with you as you were getting your doctorate. And so fill us in on what's been going on now that you've become a doctor and everything that's happened sort of since then.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. I actually was sitting before I asked you guys if you had interest in my topic idea, and I realized that that was a year ago. So, the end of it was a year ago. So, from the time that I first connected with OotiniCast was actually the middle of 2016. So, I've been Dr. Swotor I took that name the last time I was on the show for over a year. And my life is completely different now. A lot of that is because of the SWOTOR community and this game and what I was able to do last year. And lots of changes have made the game very enjoyable for me. So I'm really excited to get to talk about some of that and also some of the academic kinds of ideas that I've been having related to how video games are working in 2017 and moving forward.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Sarlacc Digest later on, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Exciting. And I understand you moved recently as well.
Yes, I actually teach counseling students now. And I'm working for a university in Arizona, and I have 5 classes going right now.
Wow.
And we're on winter
Congratulations.
break. Yeah, thank you. And the PhD program is going to be starting at this school sometime early 2018. So I'll be teaching the doctorate level students as well. And so lots of changes. Nothing about my professional life is the same as when we first met. So I don't know, to be kind of cheesy, when I met you, I was but the learner, but now I am the doctor. So
You are the master.
Nice.
Very nice.
yeah.
All right. And how about in-game? What are you doing in-game?
Well, I've been diversifying my tunes. My main sorcerer that I've had since the beginning just reached full 248 last night.
Wow.
I was
nice.
able to finally turn in the components for that last implant. And I have about half of his gear at the augmented 236 gold augments. So he's almost perfect. And I've also been trying with this CXP and EXP event to get, I have the 16 classes at level 70 so they all can accumulate CXP, and I have 5 of them at level 300.
Wow.
So I guess my end goal is to have every class to know their different roles and to have all of them at the 300 level. So I'm not going to reach that anytime soon, but it's just something I'm working on.
Okay, excellent. And Tio, how have you been?
Oh, not too bad. Just enjoying the holidays such as they were. I'm just off for a week between Christmas and New Year's from work. I've been doing a lot of family stuff
Mm-hmm.
because here in Australia, Christmas is like the family get together time. It's sort of
Sure.
similar to the US with Thanksgiving. Whereas here, everyone gets together for Christmas. Of course, it's hot because it's summer. So all of the Christmas carols usually don't make a hell of a lot of sense.
Right.
Not a lot
Yeah,
of snow around, gotta say.
yeah. Jack
No
Frost's
one's.
not nipping on much of anything, is he?
No, not even a little bit. Now, oddly enough, I still have not seen The Last Jedi.
Wow.
Yes, I know it came out here in Australia about the same time as the US, mid-December, but for various reasons, I've simply been unable to see it. So I'm not even sure I'm going to see it before I go back to work. I don't know
Oh.
when I'm going to see it.
Let
It's
me guess, two of
finding,
those reasons are like less than 1 years old and less than 3 years
yeah,
old.
that's exactly it.
Yeah. I get it. That's exactly what I mean. I was one of those people who just watched, tons and tons of movies in the theater, and then I had a son, and that all changed. So, yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
I hope we'll work out something. Otherwise, I'll sneak out during work and see it by myself, I guess, which would be kind of pathetic, but and I don't really want to do that. But, well, we'll see what happens. Though, just in passing, I did want to mention a movie that I saw on Netflix called Bright. It's
Hmm.
got terrible reviews. It's effectively our modern world as if Tolkien's history was true, as in there are orcs and elves and everything else, just living
Oh.
side by side with people set in Los Angeles, starring Will Smith. Yeah, and like I
Hmm.
said, it was supposed to be absolutely terrible,
Okay.
but I loved the idea of the premise and watched
Yeah.
it, and it was actually not too bad. I mean, not the best movie in the world, kind of B grade,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of good fun. So yeah, I would
Okay.
actually recommend having a look if you've got Netflix. So I wouldn't sign up Netflix for it, but if you got it, why the hell not? And I really hope I'll get to see The Last Jedi. One thing I did get for Christmas was the 20th anniversary poster, Star Wars anniversary poster that we got for the celebration. That Bill's wife Kathy lined up for hours to get on our behalf. Thank you,
Wow.
Kathy. I did. She got a frame for me, so it's in a beautiful wooden frame. Looks fantastic.
That's great.
Yes. Anyway, nothing else to report at this time. Back to work next week, and over to you, Chill.
All right, let's see. Get a shout out to the chat room here. And Anu's here. Coco Spud, Darth Dirty Socks. Dekion is here. Hi, Dek. Dalo, Evan04111. Fiona's here. Hey, Fee. Liba Roja's here. Hi, Liba. Pen is here as well. And hey, Pen. Steven. A lot of people. I have a lot of close relationships here, basically. Shadman V2, Synesthetic, and Zen0001. Hello, everyone. Okay. This has been now the first full week of streaming for me on Chill's Room, which has been a lot of fun. I worked with Adam Schumpert, who did the wonderful Utini Nights and Utini Rage logos to make one for my stream for Chill's Room. And so I'm putting a pic in the show notes. And so I am live every day at twitch.tv/chillsroom. And I've been doing SWOTOR and League of Legends as well. I also have a Twitter account at chillsroomtweet because for some reason chillsroom was taken. And so I that's where I do the announcements when I start things up or change games or whatever. So thanks for everyone who's been watching and following along on that. That's been a lot of fun. Also, thanks in-game to Deck for a couple of packs and for sort of a Christmas gift. Got a cool Sith armor set and a red Kaizen Fest character modification, a couple of like crystals and stuff like that. Some good stuff. So that was fun to do. In the game, I got Chill Gamora through Chapter 9 of Kotfi and did a lot on Chill Hulk with Liba Roja. Got just past CXP level 150. Gearing is going okay. I've got the 6-piece bonus, which is good. The double CXP is really helping. And got Chill Hulk through the Iocath story and both Iocath flashpoints. And the second one I had not seen before, A Traitor Among the Chiss. And that was pretty sweet. And I actually had it in my head that this would be the end of the story arc, but actually it's clear there's more to come, so that's kind of cool. So that there's still more to do on that, but it did confirm a lot of my suspicions about what was really happening in the story. Like, I don't want to give any spoilers out, but it's like, I had some suspicions, and it's like a lot of those are being sort of confirmed. So that's kind of cool. The new Flashpoint, I guess because you see the Chiss on Hoth in the class story a lot, I kind of had in my head that their homeworld would be something like that, but it's not. It's kind of the opposite. It's very much like a warm jungle paradise, and a lot of cool sort of everything's sort of crumbly. It's definitely a very old place, but there's a lot of really nice areas in there. I really like the catwalk one in the middle. The bonuses in this Flashpoint, however, are kind of a pain. They're some of them are kind of not exactly. I don't think they meant them to be as hidden as they are, but there's something about like the way that the world is set up and how everything looks. It's like you can easily miss turns and stuff like that, and miss these little cubby holes where you need to go find these little barrels to blow up and all that sort of stuff. And especially the first time, it's going to definitely take you a while to do all the bonuses. So that was a little tough, but had some interesting bosses. Even on the story mode, it's like there's some actual boss mechanics that are kind of cool. Some of it's pretty basic, but it was fun, and there's some puzzles, and they definitely had fun making that Flashpoint, and it's definitely fun to actually do it. So I like that one a lot. For Chill Hulk, I got the Canderous Ordo set, basically because I wanted fingerless gloves, and that was one of the ones I could find that definitely had that. And they look great. I even made a second outfit for her that's just the Canderous Ordo set, basically a smuggler set. And it's really nice. I mean, it's basically a shirt with a vest, a very simple vest, a nice simple smuggler's belt without too many, pouches and stuff on it, just like one little tiny pouch off the side, and other than that, it's very basic. The fingerless gloves, some regular pants, and some boots, and it's nice because there's not a ton of just regular clothes in the game. I did dye it up a little bit. The preview on the ship shows the pants a different color than I have it in the game, but it still looks really good. And then I use the fingerless gloves on her main sort of superhero outfit as well. So yeah, pretty happy with that. And if you're looking along on the show notes, and you'll see the Chills Room logo from Adam Schumpert. And yeah, so it's been a good week. Been really happy, really happy streaming every day. It's really excellent. So that's my week. And we'll go on to the tip of the week. We got 4 of them this time. I'll start one off with one from Sapphire. And Sapphire writes, worried about how long it'll take you to rank up your galactic command? Just create a new character, use the Master's Datacron, and play through the class story. So instead of gaining normal levels, you'll be gaining CXP levels. That's an excellent point. I mean, those things are not cheap, but you'll definitely be getting a lot of CXP by doing the class story that way. It's not a bad way to go, actually, it sounds like.
Our second tip is from Agent Iron Spider. Are you tired of seeing the same old surroundings? Do you ever wish you could bring some holiday cheer as you distribute destruction throughout the galaxy to your foes? Well, now you can, introducing the Snowball Bomb. With this amazing tool, you will be able to throw snowballs at the corpses of your recently slain opponents, bringing joy back to the battlefield. But wait, there is more. For a limited time, the Force will award you every now and then for this great deed, with parcels for goodies straight from the North Pole. You can have all of this for the low, low price of only 1,000 credits. So don't wait, get yours today. Thank you for that, Agent Iron Spider. That was awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I've been throwing tons of snowballs, and yeah, it's great. And you do get more with the double CXP, and you can get even more with your XP boost running. It's really excellent. So, all right. And Dekion sent in the third tip. Happy Life Day to everyone. My tip this week is an easy way to get Yavin and Zyos dailies at level 60. From your ship's mission terminal, choose to start Kotfi. Accept the mission and all of the pop-up windows. Once it starts, immediately press escape when you see a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It will send you to the fleet, but you will have skipped Forged Alliances, Shadow of Revan, and Ziost. However, you'll still keep your original companions. Keep up the great podcast, and may the Force be with you. You know, that's an excellent point, because the very first chapter 1 of Kotvi, you still have your companions at that point. That makes sense. So you can actually, as long as you don't continue on through Kotvi, yeah, you'll keep all your companions.
Genius.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our last tip is from Elian D, who has been around for a long, long time in the community, from the Unholy Alliance Guild on the Sutil Shan server, where our Utini guilds are, and from the Epic Guild on the Starforge server. Hi guys, don't know if I missed the last show of the year or not, but just in case, here's a tip for Life Day. Many people already know about the overheated droids on Nar Shaddaa, but since we have a lot of new players, many may not. When I was on Nar Shaddaa doing this, several people asked in chat what we were doing. So here goes. To quickly rack up snow-covered parcels, command XP and a ton of decos, head to Nar Shaddaa with a friend or group and throw snowballs at the overheated droids. Usually, you'll find a large group of players roaming around and throwing at the droids. This is great because the more people throwing, the faster you'll earn rewards. If it's just you and one other player, you will earn rewards faster if you each have the snowball cannon, the snowball since you can alternate during the cooldowns. Take turns with your friend hitting the droids, since if you hit it consecutively, the second hit won't count. There are many people throwing, and it really doesn't matter when you throw, since someone will always have hit the droid before you can throw again. I was on Nar Shaddaa tonight doing this for about an hour with a large group of players. In that time, I earned over 80 Life Day holo trees, 58 snow-covered parcels, and 19 command crates. Wow. Not bad for an hour of fun. Hell no. I think this could be a fun guild event too. Just hang out on Discord while you throw. Also, when you do this, keep an eye on general chat, as players will often post the locations of overheated droids. Have fun and happy Life Day. Love the show, guys. Thanks so much for keeping it going after all these years. Over 6 now. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Elion D.
All right. Excellent. And by random allotment, the winner is Elion D. So congratulations, Elion D. You're the winner of a Tonfon or M83R droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and a new TDCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show. And that will bring us to the next thing, which will be the answer to the Star Wars trivia question. So, in brief, the Star Wars trivia question was that there is something special and sort of unique that only appeared on the Rogue One and Empire Strikes Back posters, movie posters, or not exactly appeared, but were specific to those two posters that were not on any of the other posters, or even the animated Clone Wars full-length movie poster as well. And I kind of left it vague, and so obviously if someone came up with something that did fit but wasn't the one I had in mind, that was totally cool. And we actually did get some of those too, which was nice. Kitty, for example, suggested that the two things were that they were both the ones to have a female lead on the poster. Okay. Agent Iron Spider wrote the only ones that features AT-AT walkers, and that's actually true too. Not quite the one I have in mind, but that does happen. Penn wrote in that they're the only ones that have Star Destroyers. Okay, fair enough. And let's see if there's other, before I get to the one that I had in mind. Let's see. Chad Haig wrote the only two in which they feature a scene below the movie titles line, which is true. Like, especially on Rogue One, it has that on the very bottom. It shows all the AT-AT walkers attacking on Scarif. And let's see. And Ajax kind of had a long one that I'm not going to go through, but that was fun to read, AJ, so thank you. And then several people had the answer that I had, which is that Rogue One and The Empire Strikes Back are the only movie posters that do not have a lightsaber, a lit lightsaber on them. And given the fact that, it even appears on the very first poster, and it's very, sort of iconic, and they definitely sort of make a point to include lightsabers, I think, on some of the other movie posters. It does sort of stand out that that these two posters are the only ones that do not have lightsabers on them. Rogue One, I understand why, because unless you're going to include, Darth Vader's, there just isn't that much of an opportunity for one. But Empire Strikes Back. It was interesting that there just isn't one. There's sort of Han and Leia looking at each other. There's a Tauntaun and and all the rest of the stuff. But so that iconic lightsaber look that definitely gets shown up on every other poster is not on that one and not on Rogue One. Okay, so Tio, who got by random allotment, who got the big prize?
Well, we need two. So
Right.
how many do you have? How many names do you have?
Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Do it
7,
live.
8, 9.
We'll cut out this bit.
10. 10.
All right, I'm going to give you two numbers. You're going to tell me who they are.
Okay.
You've got those 10 listed.
Yeah, and Blay appears at the end, but I've already just counted it as one. So.
All right. The winner is whoever's number 3, and the runner-up is whoever's number 10.
Okay, so the winner is Penn. Congratulations, Penn, and you're the big winner. And number 10 is AJ. Congratulations, AJ. You're the winner of the runner-up prize. Congratulations. So well done, everyone. And yeah, I thought it was fun also hearing other people's answers too. So that was really cool. All right, and that will bring us to the holo feed, Tio.
Not much news, oddly enough. It's gone a little quiet, which is exactly what you would expect for this time of year, the holiday season. So, firstly, let's start with the 6th year anniversary vendor. Now, Penn, in our chat last week, when we were going through what that vendor was selling, mentioned that the HK statue, commemorative statue, was supposed to be there, wasn't. And this has been brought up on the official forums, and they're looking into it. I'm assuming it has not appeared since then. So, unless someone has actually seen it. So anyway, hopefully it will turn up, or they'll make it available some other way. That was a prize. That was a thing from a previous year.
Okay.
So it had been available before, and they had brought it back along with some others. But except they hadn't quite. So,
right.
Yes.
It would probably be on that same vendor that now has the Valkorian statue, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And Penn confirms it is still not turned up. All right, they're running out of time, but again, they can always just extend how long the vendor is there for. Next, someone complaining about more cheatings, like, for example, in PvP, in Voidstar, with some way of getting out the doors before you're supposed to. That's been a problem literally forever, or as long as the game's been around, really. People have been able to somehow sneak out. And the response from BioWare was, always report them. If you can see their name, use the internal system to report them using as a help request or whatever. Let BioWare know who it is, and also let them know when it happened. That allows them to get into the logs and have a look at what happens underneath the covers. So yeah, any other details as well, like where they were when you saw them slip out, if you saw them slip out, or if they were just outside when it was. Let BioWare know. They can investigate and maybe finally close whatever holes in the scenery are letting this happen. And if you want some extra diligence, Eric says, send a private message on the official forums to himself or producer Keith Koenig, and they'll try to get it taken care of. They have regular reviews of hacking and cheating claims, so as much reporting as possible would be good, so they can nail those down. Now, you remember we have been reporting about Conquest rewards, like the weekly Conquest, they haven't turned up, the rewards haven't turned up. As of the maintenance, that was around the 20th of December, most of the missing Conquest rewards should have been granted, though as noted by at least one player, one of his toons got their rewards, but the rest of his alts did not. If that has happened to you, get in touch with customer support. So supposedly they thought they'd got most people, but they suspected there'd be a few slipping through the cracks. So if you missed out and you believe you should have got rewards, just contact them, and hopefully they'll get you sorted out ASAP.
Okay.
And eyes. Let's talk about character eyes. We talked a little bit ago about the colors appearing different, like brown eyes weren't brown anymore or whatever, and how it was worse for particular races. And we got a response from a senior character artist on the team at BioWare,
Yeah, this is
explaining
interesting.
exactly what happened. So let's just go through it in detail because there's not much else to talk about, to be honest. Uh, and he says, a while back, a change was made to the game engine that affected how reflections work on a global scale. So just to remember how these game engines work, what they do is, what the program does is set up a virtual scene, as in where people are, characters, scenery, what kind of surfaces all of those things have. They place some light sources, like a sun or an artificial light, in the virtual room, and they place a camera, which is what you see through your screen, and then they take a snapshot. And each of those is a frame, and you see like 50 or 60 of those per second on your monitor. And reflections is part of that processing. And so dealing with that and how it looks. And this is something that they've apparently just been tweaking, because the game engine is this thing that does the heavy lifting along with the video card. So the result was this caused eyes to accept too much reflection, creating a glassy look. So this was a change they did a while ago and is referred to as sparkly eyes. And it was not a simple fix for the eyes.
Right. And it was very distracting. I mean, if you're looking for immersion, having every character have this like glazed look, it made them look like less than human or less than living. It was not a good change. So I'm glad that they got on this right away.
Of course, the problem was, even though they tried to match the colors, it was more what they were reflecting from the scenery that was appearing, that was making them look weird. And it wasn't a simple fix, as it wasn't the art of the eyes themselves.
Right.
So, yeah. He had to spend time fixing the eyes anyway, and he saw an opportunity to improve the system to allow for a larger variety of colors moving forward. And that's given them a lot more flexibility in creating more unique looking eyes. So close to the depth and color variation that we got with Valen and Arkan.
That's cool.
So, but they do fully understand the attachment to character eyes, and there's a lot of thought put into the characters. And the last thing we would want is for anyone to feel like they have taken something from them. So they are going to try and fix it. Like regarding the dark brown eyes, we matched the colors to what we had as reference before Game Update 5.6. However, they recognized that some colors appeared darker than they actually were due to that amount of reflection that was coming into the eyes, and now the game engine was dealing with. The more reflection there is, the darker the colors become, as it overrides the color information with what it's picking up from the environment. Makes sense? And we will choose one of the browns to darken to more closely match the dark brown option players had previously. And in addition, they are checking colors to make sure there aren't any that are too far from their original hue, so they can actually tweak them. And what they're asking for, and I'll link this thread in our show notes, is for you to let them know specific colors, as in character selection, which colors. You can go into your outfit designer to check that. Like, this color is no longer right for your eyes, and they will do their best to try to fix that. And that's pretty much the news, though we'll just have a quick look back at 2017 and the kind of changes that we've seen over the last year. Though I'm going to start at the end of 2016, 29th of November 2016 to be specific, which is when we got Game Update 5.0, which was Kotet, Knights of the Eternal Throne. Now, as you'll know, they did the whole Netflix binge-watching thing where you just got all the chapters at once, and that included visiting Iakath and Nathema. We had the level raise up to level 70. We had the DVL system, and we had Galactic Command. So believe it or not, it has been a year of CXP. And we also got the first 5 uprisings. So the next big update was Game Update 5.1, which was 23rd of January this year, January 2017. Game Update 5.1, Defend the Throne. That gave us Master Mode for chapters. So all of the chapters in Kotfi and Kotet got a Master Mode, which was significantly more difficult than the story and... Oh, God, what's the middle one called? blinking.
Oh,
It's like hard mode, but
it's
they
like
call it
hard
something
mode, but they
else.
call it veteran.
Veteran.
And veteran mode. But yeah, more difficult, which is cool. And they also added another 5 uprisings for a total of 10. So we have 10 uprisings. They had story and veteran mode at that point. Then 18 April, we had Game Update 5.2. We had more story on Iakath, which was just story you play through. We had the first boss in the new operation, Gods of the Machine, Tithe. That first boss. So Tithe was added. He only had story and veteran mode. And that was the first of 5 bosses. And we also got master mode for those 10 uprisings and the big update to the galaxy map. Now, I should mention that all through this year, there have been quite a few quality of life changes, all kinds of stuff. And the galaxy map update being one of them. Recently, the activities UI replacing the group finder. All these little bits and pieces that have just been improvements to the game flow overall. Anyway, then nothing until 11th of July, so we're halfway through the year, we had Game Update 5.3 where they gave us the Manan Stronghold. Mana. We had and the second boss of Gods of the Machine, Avella and Esni. Now, when I was going through this, I missed when did they add the Iakath daily area? Because that did turn up, but I'm not sure when. It turned up at some point.
Would it have been when Tithe came out?
Could have been.
I think
Because you have to go there to fight the Valley of the Machine Gods.
There you go. So
Yeah,
it would have
I
been
think
probably
that's
Game
right.
Update 5.2. Thank you. Then, 22nd of August, we had Game Update 5.4, which was when we got the Crisis on Umbara Flashpoint, the one on the train, as well as the Umbara mobile base stronghold. So second stronghold of the year and our first Flashpoint. Then, 10th of October was Game Update 5.5, United Forces Preparation, which was a bunch of stuff under the covers, but no actual content. Then, 8th of November 2017, Game Update 5.5.1, United Forces was live, and this was the server mergers, where we went from many servers down to 5, including we bid farewell to the Harbinger and joined the Sutil Shan, and they shut the West Coast data center, which was a pain in the ass for all of us living in Australia, and obviously to a lesser extent of you playing on the West Coast because you had 30 or 40 milliseconds added to your ping because the servers are all not on the East Coast of the US. Then 28th of November 2017, we're coming rapidly up to the present. We had Game Update 5.6 where we got the second Flashpoint, a trader among the Chiss on Copero.
I love that the notes actually have a traitor among the chill.
I was obviously just transcribing that. Yeah, anyway. And we had our third boss.
Was that an editorial comment or something?
My subconscious is a strange and murky place.
Yes. I'll update the notes, though.
And our third boss was from the Gods of the Machine operation, Nahut. So that's 3 of 5, and they let us know we're not getting any more this year. They will turn up sometime early 2018. And we got a new GSF map. They said we'd never get another one, but we did. Another deathmatch style, and that was the one outside Iakath. So another GSF map. And then a couple of weeks later, and a couple of weeks ago from when we're recording, 12th of December 2017, Game Update 5.6.1, we got the new 12v12 PvP map on Yavin 4. Or do I mean 8v8? It is 12v12, isn't it?
It's 8v8 for the Yavin 4
12v12
ruins.
for the GSF. That's how long it's been since I've done PvP. 8v8 PvP map on Yavin 4. So yeah, so we got a new PvP. Let's just go through what we got this year. 2 flashpoints, 1 PvP map, an actual 8v8 rather than a arena, 4v4 arena. We got 3 bosses from a new operation, and we had a new operation for a while. We had 2 strongholds, Manan and the Umbara mobile base. We got some more, a new daily area on Iakath.
10 uprisings.
And we got the remainder of the 5 uprisings, but altogether 10 uprisings.
Right.
And of course, Kotet started at the end of last year, but it's been pretty much there and Master Mode for those chapters, and a bit of new story on ICAT. I guess not bad for a year. Is that an expansion's worth, would you say? A couple of flashpoints. Depends if you rolled in Kotet to that as well.
Right, right. I mean, it's going to depend what we see next. So we don't really have a. I mean, there is a roadmap, but I don't remember seeing a whole lot of story stuff on it past the stuff we now have.
Yeah.
Do you get the feeling that the flashpoints we're getting eventually will be sort of like that series of 4 flashpoints that you have to play if you decide to do Shadow of Revan? Where maybe they're not telling us what's next because we kind of need to have that story
Leading us up to us.
It's
Well,
possible.
it's possible, though. I don't think they made any secret of it that it was like the road to Shadow of Revan at the time.
Well, I mean, were those flashpoints originally called Prelude to the Shadow of Revan, or is that something that they named them once it became clear they're the prelude to Shadow of Revan?
Yeah,
I don't
I don't know if
remember
they.
it that far
Yeah, I
back.
don't either. But I'm pretty sure they at least told us that was what was happening. They were leading up to.
Well, different
Yeah,
leadership now.
yeah. As
Well,
was pointed out in the chat, Ben Irving left and Keith took over, and that has been a massive change to the game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, the mission is actually called, Prelude to Shadow of Revan. So I think by that point they had at least announced what the name of the expansion would be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, to get the impression they're not really leading up to anything. The story is sort of evolving, clearly, just from stuff that the writers have said, Charles Boyd specifically on Twitter, and it's just step by step. It's unclear whether they're going to do another expansion or just keep piecemealing stuff out to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, as far as what's coming next year, all we really know for sure is we're getting the remainder of the last 2 encounters in the Gods of the Machine operation. And not much else specifically, at least at this point. At least anything, yeah. Unless you guys can recall anything that they've told us. Nothing is springing to mind.
Yeah.
So 2018 remains a mostly clean slate, and we're waiting to be filled. And I'm pretty sure Keith told us they would be posting a blog early in the new year, letting us know what was coming.
Right.
Anyway, any last thoughts on 2017, the year that was, or hopes for 2018?
I would just like to say that accumulating CXP is so much better now than it was 12 months ago or March, or you really can pick any month of this year and it's better now than it was then.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's easy to feel negative when you go on Twitter or Reddit or all these places, but it's not that bad, and they've got it to where you can really choose what activity you want to do in order to reach a state where you feel like you're thriving. And
Right.
that's what I was hopeful for when I first heard about these command crates in the first place.
But where do they go from here? Do they add a 5th tier of gear? Yeah, I don't know. Or is this just going to be another expansion and then everything's reset and we start all over with something similar to Command? Galactic Command?
They have to, I mean, I would hope that they are very thoughtful about what they do with that, because if they say we're going to make it go up to 450 and everyone's tunes that are at 300 are just at 300, then you're going to have a bunch of people who are instantly upset because they'll feel like they've already earned 150 tier 4 crates.
Right.
But maybe they do have the way to look into how many tier 4 crates you've actually earned and kind of jump you to that point as a show of goodwill. Or maybe it would be deliberate and say, no, like tier 4 now extends to 450, and then tier 5 crates you're going to be static locked into that 450 number. Or they have to do something. And or maybe the your command just falls apart at the end of what Theron is doing. And so we go back to just having a max level of 75, and
And
who knows?
the
They can
gear
do
grind
whatever they
starts
want.
over.
It's their game.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I do think if they do like another expansion, which to me kind of involves more levels essentially, and then it would be nice like if they'd make that decision to continue with the CXP or not. If they do sort of tie that into the story, like because if our alliance is still around, it'd be nice to just sort of keep that mechanic. But if the story has the alliance breaking up, then I think there really should be a different mechanic at that point to level up and gear up.
Because you're no longer
Otherwise it would
commanding
feel
the
weird.
galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't have that
Yeah.
alliance that to back you up and get you a gear and that sort of thing. So hopefully it'll sort of thematically tie into whatever they decide to do for the story going forward.
All right, let's just finish with a quick summary of current events in terms of in-game. The double rewards event that Dekion just reminded me about was ending on the 1st of January. So Monday, the
Just
1st
a few
of January.
days.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's double XP, double CXP, double everything pretty much. That will be ending. The Life Day event will actually continue until the 10th of January. And the 6-year anniversary rewards vendor until the 17th of January. So you've got a fair amount of time for all that. Right now, the Relics of the Gree event is on. And that finishes next Tuesday, January 2nd. Bounty contract week will be January 9th through 16. And then after that, the Rackles are back, this time on Tatooine, January 23rd through 30. So yes, lots of stuff happening in game. They really have all those events rolling on a regular basis, which is as it should be. Anyway, that's the news.
All right. That'll bring us to the force feedback where you get your tweets and emails. And Blay wrote in, does the OotiniCast pre-recording checklist include Tio's SSD cables? Doing a callback to a couple shows ago. Yes.
Sure.
Hopefully
Sure
that
it does,
one.
Blay. Sure it does.
Hopefully that just is a one-off that will never recur. Because I'm sure that that would be pretty awful if you had to open up your computer every week.
Make sure it's
Alright.
there. Yep.
Yeah. And Blay also said, no, don't tell everyone that Terrell 5 and Red Reaper are the fastest ways to get CXP. If everyone starts doing them, they'll get nerfed. Well, that is the way of the games. Yep. Johnny Born to Eat Bacon wrote in, just finished OotiniCast 323. Great episode as always. Chill, I concur on Sith Robe complexity. Have fun with scythe blades sticking out of the sleeves. Why? Yes. I definitely tend towards the simpler is better when it comes to gear. And yeah, when you pull that spectacular giant collars, huge spiky shoulder pads, and everything else, it's like that's a very specific look, and if you don't want your character to look like that, you'll never use that piece of gear. So thank you, Johnny. And Descartes wrote in, listening to OotiniCast just paid off in a weird way. Someone posted on Reddit that they had an NVIDIA code they would give away to whoever posted the best Star Wars joke. I won with a joke I heard on your podcast. It was a joke about why Jedi don't send files over their email server. Because their code prohibits attachments. Yes. Now a classic. All right. And that will bring us to the Sarlacc Digest, where we go over the issues for 1,000 years. Or until we run out of time. And we've got Dr. Swotor back, so he is going to talk about psychology and loot boxes. Dr. Swotor?
All right. So I just want to set this up as quickly as I can so that we can get straight to it. But I was sitting around trying to figure out how to play Battlefront about a month ago. And I just started going online and trying to figure out what am I doing wrong because I'm terrible. And so eventually I started reading about the loot box controversy. And I also was listening to an OotiniCast around the same time where you guys actually mentioned this as a issue, a financial issue, and also as the game design issue that it is, that game was clearly designed for people to have to play a lot to earn a game or pay a little bit to get a certain gun or to be in a better position for the game. And of course, being an EA property and how BioWare is running this game and giving this game to us, clearly I love SWTOR. And so I started thinking about how the cartel market works and how this whole year they really have emphasized direct sale items on the cartel market, which I love because I cannot stand hyper crates or you know, the boxes.
The
you
pack
pay
opening.
Yeah, I can't stand it. That's just my personality playing out, though. I definitely understand people who are into those new packs who do buy them and really try to collect. That is an important element of the game. So I just started thinking to myself, what determines the difference in a person between liking these in their video game or not liking them, or understanding them as important to the structure of their game, or just rejecting them completely and saying, you know, I'm going to do the free-to-play version of this. I'm going to play for 4,000 hours, and I'm going to earn every single thing that I have in my repertoire. So I started to think about all these different things, and I put a poll up on Twitter earlier this morning just to get an idea about where some of these motivations lie in the pantheon of all of the players. And most of my followers, I think, do play SWTOR, so it's a skewed question. It was just more for my own purposes to have something to talk about tonight. So I guess I want to ask both of you, Tio, Chill, what kinds of things are the deciding factors between spending cartel coins or purchasing cartel coins to buy a specific thing on the market? Like, have you guys ever purchased a hyper crate? Things like that. You know, where do you stand on this? And then maybe we can interact on that a little bit.
Okay. Chill, you want to go first?
Sure. Let's see. I haven't bought a lot of cartel coins beyond my subscription. I did buy some, and mostly what it was is I wanted to look for the different cards that had the different pets on them, and then I just got cartel coins as sort of a, you know, as a almost as an offshoot of that, essentially, just for trying out the different pets, essentially. So so at least on the cartel coin end, I've found that my subscription has sort of kept me enough. I haven't really had to I didn't feel like I had to dip in and spend a lot of money in addition to that. So I've been fine on that side. As far as spending my cartel coins, I have bought one hypercrate, but I can't remember if I ended up buying it off the GTN or not. They're kind of expensive from buying them directly from the market. On the GTN, it's like they're still expensive, but you know, it's like with credits, you know, there's different ways to get credits. A few times I've bought packs for cartel coins for sure. I think the hypercrate I got was just off of cartel coins off the GTN. So I've bought packs a few times just for fun. Usually because there was something I was hoping to get out of it. I think there's like a particularly interesting item. I think back in the day when the Act Dog was like the only companion, I bought some packs specifically hoping to get that one. That was sort of one time when I really was kind of tempted to spend cartel coins. So
Did you get it?
I got it, but not that way. I think I ended up just waiting a little while and buying it off the GTN for a fair number of millions of credits.
Yeah. I have a similar experience. The first time I ever bought a hyper crate, I've only bought 2 hyper crates ever, but I bought it because the strongholds were new. Back then I had a Narshada stronghold, and I had unlocked it to get to the part with the balcony in the back where you can put something large.
Right.
I wanted a statue of the Emperor, and I did not get whatever a hypercrate is it 40 packs or 25
Mm-hmm.
or whatever? Anyway, I opened
And
it
it's
all.
right.
No statue of the emperor. So that was also the first time I learned how to grind and keep my credits until I had 2 million credits.
Mm,
And so that's the first time I spent over 1 million credits on something. And so that
right.
sort of taught me, uh, not counting the second hypercrate, don't depend on your RNG because, I mean, my RNG seems to be terrible, but I think that globally it's terrible in terms of getting what we want out of these packs. But it
Sure.
it also creates that scarcity, and I understand. So, you know, I learned that if there's something you want, you need to just buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. The cartel coins I've spent, a lot of them have been like legacy wide unlocks. I've done some of that, um, both in terms of like quality of life stuff, but also like certain speeders that I like for more than one character. I have gone ahead and spent the coins to unlock it for the whole account. Same with some pets and some other sort of cosmetic stuff. So that's actually been, I think, if I totaled up like the amount of coins I spent on stuff, probably just doing like account wide unlocks for items that I like is probably the number one thing, because I've done a lot of emotes, I've done a lot of pets that way, a fair number of speeders, some of the toys, the out of combat regeneration toys and stuff like that. I've unlocked a lot of those. So
Okay.
for me, that's a big cartel coin sink.
So for you, it's to help you make your future tunes have more resources in terms of like customizing them or having the things that you would want them to have more conveniently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And with credits, I've bought packs a fair bit, but not like crazy amounts. Just once in a while, I've gotten some and just opened them up for fun. Especially if I notice that there's a pack that I like that it's on the GTN for less than I was expecting, essentially. Then I'll go ahead and buy them and open them up. So I've done that, but it's kind of rare. Not a huge. I guess I'm not a huge pack opener for that reason. It's like it's fun. The RNG is kind of fun for me, but the rewards haven't been enough for me to like to go back to that well a lot.
Right. Tio, do you have any opinion on the cartel markety kinds of things or loot boxes even in other games?
Well, my
Um,
general opinion on as far as that goes is I have never spent any cartel coins uh, on cartel crates for myself, and I never will because I just don't have that. I don't get that thrill opening a box with random content. I think it's so clearly a waste of. Well, you can think about the probabilities, the
Right.
statistics, and you're just wasting your money, really. Direct sale stuff is I'd be happy to if I found something I liked, and very few times I've purchased something from the cartel market, it has been something cosmetic. Like Chill, I have spent a lot on just general account wide unlocks specifically, and occasionally character unlocks,
Mm-hmm.
usually account wide ones though, because I
Yeah.
am all about utility. Cosmetics, not so much. I believe talked about when we strongholds were first introduced that I didn't really see myself decorating them, and geez, was I right about that? I just set them up so they just have everything I needed in a particular spot. The Tatooine stronghold is perfect for that. You zone in, you can put stuff exactly where you are. It actually looks vaguely aesthetically okay, and that's enough. And then I stop, and I don't need to get a whole lot of other things. But yeah, as far as spending cartel coins or any in-game currency on cartel crates or any kind of loot box, it does nothing for me. And it's such an obvious way of playing, in my opinion, on that gambling streak that we all have to some degree. I know I don't have much of it, and some
Mm-hmm.
people have a lot of it, but yeah, also do delay gratification really well. So
yeah.
I don't need it. So anyway,
Right.
Okay.
One
Well,
other.
go
What?
ahead.
Okay. One other thing I noticed, like the few times that I have done sort of the hypercrate openings or the multi pack openings, is that that tends to feel a little bit better for me because even when I'm getting like items that I'm not going to personally use, I take enough of the RNG out of it that I end up getting enough items that are actually valuable that I can at least sort of break even or even sometimes make a profit. I mean, it's like early in this expansion, it would have been like about a year ago, this time last year. Uh, I got I opened a pack and it was like I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it might have been like one of the Revan pieces of armor or something else that was worth like, like a couple dozen million credits basically. And it basically like funded my account for this whole year. I've still got like 15 million credits, and that's just been sort of whittled down from like 50 after I managed to sell that on the GTN. So and that's sort of like how I psychologically go around the pack openings, because opening one pack and then just having something disappointing out of it doesn't really feel good to me. But when I'm gonna open like 20 packs, I know that there's a very high chance that I'm gonna get something that will at least hopefully make back a good chunk of what I spent on it, and that's for me, that's more interesting and more fun.
Yeah, what you're saying there is you've actually broadened your expectations, so you have more
Mm-hmm.
of a chance of feeling good about it.
Right.
As opposed to my story, I wanted one thing, that stupid statue.
Yeah.
I didn't
Well,
get it.
right. Well,
So,
yeah. When I was going after the Act Dog, that's I was in I was in that boat with you.
right. And the other time I bought a Hyper Crate, my wife also plays SWOTOR. She's part of my raid group. We do all of our group stuff together,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And I bought a Hyper Crate to try to get the unstable Arbiter lightsaber
Ah.
because, I was pretty sure I was going to think Kylo Ren is pretty cool, and I wanted to have a lightsaber that just doesn't seem put together just right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my Hyper Crate did not, but my wife bought 2 packs with her coins and she got it. So, you know, um, you know, professionally too, I don't know how much we can edit this out if we need to, but I spend a lot of time helping people with gambling addiction professionally.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is something that, I don't want to talk about all of those different principles because it does wreck people's lives when we're talking about other things. I don't think that buying hyper crates in SWOTOR is going to result in the same kind of devastation. But the psychology behind why hyper crates exist, and sort of that streak that people get on where maybe they open a couple packs, it works out for them. They don't have that story of disappointment.
Right.
So then when a new hyper crate comes out, I'm sure there's some people who are, have a good enough setup in their life that maybe they do buy one of every hyper crate. And maybe some people do their dailies and weeklies to make sure they have credits to buy one hyper crate off the GTN every time,
Mm.
for the 30, 40, 50 million, whatever they go for.
Right.
Um, so, there's ways to do it by playing the game, and there's ways to do it by using your debit card. And
Right.
the way that it treats you in the game is a huge factor in how likely you are to like this thing. So I was just thinking to myself, I tried to create a list this morning about why people engage in microtransactions. So there's got to be a line somewhere. Similar to my dissertation, like why do people play MMORPGs? It has to have something to do with their personality. And largely it does. So I created this Twitter poll, and Twitter gives you 4 options. So what I did this morning is I asked my followers basically, and whoever sees it by a retweet, what makes you decide to go ahead and spend money in-game via microtransactions? And I also put as a follow-up, FYI, this is not just about SWOTOR, any game. And if your reason for doing this isn't there, please let's have a conversation about it. I want to include it in the bigger thing that I'm working towards with this. So I put status or becoming more powerful, collecting or getting those rare items, the thrill of box opening, and unique appearance, or something that helps you to feel like you are more cool looking. And I don't know if you guys remember me talking about my results, but I just want to ask you guys, out of those 4 answers, do you connect with any of those, or which one do you have a suspicion is the leader, so to speak? If you had to guess.
Probably. I would say, I don't know, maybe like the collecting one,
Okay. Tio, do you have
like
a guess?
getting cool items and collecting was both all in one answer, right?
Yeah, I put the collecting and rare items as one
Right.
answer.
I would imagine that would be pretty high.
Yeah.
So I'm actually looking at the answer, and so I would
Cheater.
have guessed the thrill of the box opening,
Isn't
but
that
I didn't.
interesting?
Yeah, but well, talk about the answer because clearly I'm completely wrong.
Right. It actually for our population, the people who play games, specifically SWTOR. So I would love to try and pursue a sample of people who play other games that definitely have a huge element of loot boxes, and particularly loot boxes that affect your abilities. But the thrill of opening boxes is not a part of it. And I'm surprised by that because given what I do professionally, let's use things like scratch off tickets or, the lottery, there is a thrill to just doing the action of, seeing the reveal. And only 6% of the 50 votes that I was able to get throughout the course of today said that's why. So then I started thinking, okay, so this is a different thing altogether than other things in life that have an RNG element. And customization won out huge, just like it did in my dissertation research. That uniqueness of appearance and collecting rare items, which are very close to the same thing. And I had a conversation with one person on Twitter about this, that they're very similar, but perhaps there's a little bit of a different mindset. But making our characters unique is the determining thing. Like for me, I even would fall under that. I wanted my stronghold,
Right.
now probably everyone has a stronghold that has that statue, I'm sure at this point. But back then I felt like mine's going to be the cool one that has the emperor on the balcony. And I
Right.
would have
Right.
been very proud of that. So that is also a customization kind of thing. Just like the unstable arbiter lightsaber is, or some of the rare, like the Revan Reborn armor set,
Sure.
the things they usually choose to make the direct sale items on the cartel market. Anyone who has those probably has them because they got very lucky, or because they wanted them specifically for a character or a set of characters to have a look that they were proud of.
Right. Well, yeah. For me, that's important. I mean, my two main characters right now are both essentially cosplay characters. They're based on Marvel characters. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So then so my list that I've been building, and my goal really in 2018 is to see if I can do an academic investigation of this because not very many people have. There's very little besides opinion pieces posted online that really try to explain how microtransactions are becoming a staple of gaming. So I wrote several bullet points that makes me more powerful. I'm drawn to collecting the rarest items possible, even if I have to buy them. It makes me look cool. It saves me time in game. That way I can focus on playing the things that I want to play, instead of completely derailing what I would normally be doing to earn a thing through through something I don't want to do. Also, I have disposable income, so I like to spend them on games because that's my leisure activity. I like to support the developers by giving them some of my additional funds to invest in the game beyond the initial purchase. The
Okay.
thrill of random loot makes this game more enjoyable. I did put, low self-control or not very good with delayed gratification. So I just was wondering, is there anything that could come to mind, if the chat too has any ideas, something that I didn't list? That's really what I wanted to start today, is sort of like a part one to this conversation, and answer questions too, if the two of you or the chat room wants to hear what a psychology minded
Do you
person
think
has to
there's
say about these
either,
things.
and these might be separate or they might be sort of the same thing, maybe a thrill of the new, where the boxes, the latest Hypercrate has new stuff that no one else has seen or isn't a lot in the game, which I know is kind of tied to some of the other ones, and or sort of keeping up with the Joneses, where you want to have like that again might be sort of similar to some of these others, but maybe just a
Yeah.
slightly different take on them.
Yeah, that's actually something. I think that that's a really good one. I've added it to my list. Keeping up with the
Cool.
Joneses. Sort of like why we have to have iPhone 8s and 10s right now, right?
Right. That's right. I'm trying. I think it was like a TED talk or something that I was watching lately, and it's like, the reason that you have an iPhone is not because it's necessarily better in any in any specific sense, but just because it's a it's like a it's like a bird's feather display that says, I'm here to mate and I'm ready to pass on my genes to the next generation, essentially.
Yeah. At
Do
this
you think?
point, I don't think I could switch. I've bought too many apps that I find useful that
Right.
I would just. It's sort of why I don't have characters on any other server besides the Starforge, because
Mm.
you get used to all those legacy unlocks, and then playing for even 5 minutes without them just feels terrible.
Right. Well, the transfers were pretty cheap there for a long time, so and it's easy to get the legacy moved over at that point. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So can
Do
we
you
think of anything else that would belong on that list?
I've got a more general question for you, Dr. Swirtle.
Sure.
How cynical do you think the companies are in utilizing these techniques? Do you think they planned it out from a psychological point of view? Do you think they just sort of stumbled into it and found out it kind of worked and they just keep on doing it? I mean, are we as a gaming population being played in a certain way, ironically enough, to get as
Oh,
much money out of us as possible?
well, I think that the answer to that would be it depends. If you take a casino, um, and we can talk about casinos because of The Last Jedi now, but I won't spoil anything, but, you know, uh, they're designed very deliberately. The people who figured out where they want to place this and where they want to place that, they know how the brain works. And we get sucked into activities like gaming, because they're enjoyable. Our brain tells us they're enjoyable, and we have a list of goals, and we try to check off the box and go to the next one, and check off that box and go to the next one. And we just get sucked into that. So then what you do is you create a ladder that's very hard to climb, and you make the person feel good about spending their effort climbing it. That's what leveling up is, and we've been doing that for 6 years. And now we have the CXP leveling, where we get these boxes, and we want to get to a certain gear level, and now we have reminders of our gear level on our character card. So it's very easy to see how we're doing. We might start our night at 232 and open up 30 different boxes because we
Right.
beat an operation in 2 master flashpoints. And then we get to the part at the end, or maybe when we're standing around before each boss, where we're opening, disintegrating and keeping and claiming. And, by the end of the night, that 232 might say 235. And it's like, man, my average gear number went up by 3 in one night of playing, and that feels great.
Right.
So to answer your question, I think that the people who make video games, they know how our brains work, and they want to do things that have an end result of having you engage more intimately with their game. So
Mm-hmm.
I had given props to SWOTOR earlier in the podcast, and I always will as long as this stays true, that you can't use cartel coins to get a set of 248 gear.
You
That's
can't buy
fully
power.
right, right.
Yes.
It's not about power. And so it's not pay to win. It's pay to have a chance to look really cool. And with the direct sale items, now it actually is pay to look specifically the way you want to look. And if you wait long
Mm-hmm.
enough, hopefully your item will become available. And then you get into the like, why is the vented lightsaber $60 of cartel coins? And who's going to pay that? And then the impact that has on the GTN, like, I don't know, is it worse that that lightsaber is like 400 million credits on the GTN, or that $60 in the cartel market? I don't know. So
Right.
I think that the broader game industry chooses loot boxes because it's an easy way to generate revenue. They know that um, a good enough percentage will take that shortcut, because they want something specific. Even on the cell phones, I really have in the past liked Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and they have packs cycle through all the time it'll just flat out give you these 3 heroes, whereas you can play for a whole solid month doing all the daily grinds and not get that hero in your group.
Right.
So that costs you money, and it's a shortcut. So I
Right.
think that it is by design, yes, but I don't know that it's all nefarious either.
I can't really blame them. It's not like it's malfeasance. It's these guys have to make money. It's an effective way of making money. No one can make enough content to just base it on the content alone. So it's like
Right.
another mechanism. So why not? It does seem to be EA's overall strategy, as we saw in Battlefront 2. Of course, they stepped over the bound by selling power, and that went terribly wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
they seem to be easing back on that because, well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, there's a balance
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Selling power is bad, but why not
Well,
otherwise?
right. I think that the whole thing about content is a really good point. This has been a problem with all online games since ever.
Yeah.
And this actually showed up in my literature review last year, that you get these big games that for their time had a lot of man hours and effort put into building them, and the company is proud of it. They put it out, and within 4 hours somebody has consumed the entire thing.
Mm.
Right? So then you spend more money on the next one, and everyone's really proud on it, and you put it out, and within 5.5 hours somebody has played the entire thing.
Yeah, the
So
Yeah.
content locusts. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So how do you make a game live is really the question. And it's about creating ladders. And sometimes the game is designed around this premise that the ladder is 100,000 hours. And the only real way to get, like, if you get in your mind that I have to get to a certain point in this game within the first month in order for me to stick with it, you might see that something is $9.99 and pay it,
Yeah.
because to you it's the difference between sticking with a game that you love or giving up on it. So I think the game companies are fighting that too. I don't think it's a pure manipulation of the gamer, but for people who are opposed to paying that $9.99 on principle because I bought a $60 game, it can feel that way. But remember, that is one person in a broader community of all kinds of different gamers who all have different priorities, different things that they enjoy, and different things that make them feel really bad about investing their time into this thing. So how do you make a system that keeps it profitable for the game company and enjoyable for all the players who want to enjoy the thing?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what they're striving for, and
Right.
hopefully they've more or less achieved it.
Yeah, and it's also tricky because there will be a large number of gamers out there who are kind of playing at their budget already, They have a small budget. They either, maybe they're a college student, or, for whatever reason, they don't have a ton of money to spend on gaming, but they do have a little bit, and they're willing to, to do it to play a game that they really love. And you have to balance that, because there's out of the pool of players, there will be people on the other end who, are whales. They call that in the gaming community, who can drop a couple $1,000s on, SWTOR or whatever game, and not even care, because it's just a drop in the bucket for them, and it doesn't, so for them, like, a couple of $1,000s is like, whatever. This is my leisure time, and this is nothing money to me, so I'm going to drop that. And you have to find a system that's going to keep everyone relatively happy when you have people spending, like, the minimum amount to play the game versus, all the money in the world, sort of, to play the, they can drop if they want to. And that's obviously very tempting for gaming companies as well, to go after those whales, and because it doesn't take very many, big spenders to equal a huge amount of players on the other end.
Yeah, I think I read once that some huge percentage, like 75 or 80% of the microtransactions come from, like, a single-digit percent of the player base.
Right.
And
right. Well, that's going to be the bell curve. That's going to be the 80-20 rule that happens whenever you have a wide range of variability in a population like that. You're going to get the 80-20 rule coming up every time, where 80% of the money is going to come from 20% of the people, and game companies tend to try to go after that 20% so they can get that 80%.
Can't blame them.
Yeah.
All right. I'm running out of time. Do you guys want to keep talking, and I'll just drop out and just, chill, get me the recordings, or do you want to wrap up, Dr. SWTOR?
I think we're pretty...
We can wrap it up. I think I just wanted to start a conversation, and anyone who has ideas related to this, please reach out to me on Twitter. It's Infinite Outcome. The O is actually a 0. And just talk to me about it. Answer the poll if it's still up. If it's closed, then just reply to something I've said related to this. I really am just asking the player community to help me create something that will explore this topic the best way that I can over the next period of time.
And maybe once you have reached some conclusion, you can come back on and tell us about it.
Yes, I'm actually presenting on microtransactions at a professional conference in 2 months.
Woohoo!
Cool.
And I have everything I need to talk about that as a academic.
Yep.
So I'm trying to get the gaming side of it sound so that I can represent something that I'm, like, 110% proud of. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish by being on tonight for the podcast.
Sure. Please, so everyone, talk to Dr. SWTOR, let him know, expand his data set so he has the best basis for what he wants to talk about.
Right. And remember to give him more of the possible little reasons to either spend cartel coins or to open loot boxes as well. Yep. I had one more thought on that, actually. Kind of the opposite of, being attracted to the new, but also being bored by the old. In other words, you have a character you love, but you get tired of looking at the way that character looks all the time. Out comes the new loot boxes, and all of a sudden you find yourself buying loot boxes to get away from, just so your character doesn't look the same as he or she did, last week or last month.
Okay, yep, I'm adding it. Update or diversify my look.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Was there anything else that we saw maybe in the chat room, too?
Not really. The guys were following along with the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. All right, then. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satele Shan server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /c join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live semi-bi-weekly on Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room, and thank you to Dr. Swotor.
Thanks a lot. I enjoyed it.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, guys, keep recording. Pin, I will be in touch. And we'll get you the code, and we'll get it to AJ as well. Everyone, thank you for watching. Nothing really else to say. I'm not sure who the guest will be next time. Anyway, Happy New Year, of course.
Yeah.
And may the force be with you and or serve you well. See you in 2018. Take us out, Shell.
All right. Stop.